Okay, so it seems like we're playing against Night March, and our opponent is going first. So we see a Pumpkaboo coming down with an energy and an Ultra Ball. Okay, let's see what my opponent is grabbing. Maybe it's an attacker. Oh, it's card draw. It's a Shemini X, and he's going to draw 4 cards. There we go. A VS Seeker for the Zerozic, I guess. So we have to find 2 DCs instead of just 1, but we have a couple of turns to do that. There's an Acrobike. And the opponent just concedes without even letting us play a turn.
Guess who's back? Back again. Shady's back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? 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 Guess who's back?
Hello everyone, welcome to Pokédex, the channel where I build decks for the Pokemon trading card game. First of all, I hope you guys didn't mind that intro. I was just messing around, having some fun. This is the standard Seismitoad EX deck. For those of you who don't know, Seismitoad was the scourge of the past standard format, but with the rotation and Vespiquen coming in and the lasers going out, a lot of people, myself included, thought that Seismitoad EX was not going to be viable, but after playing this deck I have to say that I'm a believer now. I still think it's as powerful and as annoying as it ever was. We did lose the lasers for the disruption and damage output, but we gained a partner in Giratina EX. I've seen some people play this deck. In fact, Pokédev has posted a list recently, which I'm going to link to in the description below, but I don't agree with a lot of his numbers. So to build my list, I basically picked up Robin Schulz's winning deck list from the Arena Cup. It was an expanded deck list, so I cut the lasers and the Keldeo, and I just added some more consistency cards to this deck, so hopefully it will still be as good as it is in expanded. I mean, it's not as good, but in expanded the decks are a lot better generally, so hopefully this will still work in standard. As I said, Giratina EX, perfect partner for Seismitoad EX. Chaos Wheel fixes a lot of the matchups that Seismitoad would lose against, so against Vespiquen decks, we usually start with Seismitoad, just annoying them, not allowing them to play the items after they kill the first Seismitoad. We just start attacking with Giratina EX. If they only have 1 energy on the table and we manage to kill the Pokemon that has it with Chaos Wheel, they will not be able to play another DCE, so it's just game over against a lot of decks. There's a lot of DCE decks, and Giratina EX is awesome against those decks. Of course, Renegade Pulse also a pain in the neck for the Mega Evolution decks. So yeah, all in all, I think they complement each other really well. They are the only attackers of the deck, hopefully. So I'm playing 2 Giratina and 4 Seismitoad. We typically only need a couple of Seismitoad and 1 Giratina in a match. We just go with 1 Seismitoad and then another one after the first one gets knocked out. And then we usually close the game with Giratina X just because it does more damage. But I want to start with Seismitoad EX a lot of times, so I'm playing the maximum amount of number that I can just to increase the chances that we draw it in our opening. And then only 2 Giratina X, which reflects the kind of the number that we need in order to play most matches. And because we're generally only need like 3 attackers, we have a lot of bench space for card draw, so we play 2 Shemini X and 1 Upa EX, which is insane in this deck. When you just use an Ultra Ball and grab Upa, Shamin, a Giratina, and a Seismitoad, that's just insane, honestly. One of the best cards for this deck. And that's basically all the Pokemon there are in this deck. We're just playing really a straightforward deck here, as all the Seismitoad decks in the past were, which leave us a lot of room for items and disruptive stuff like the hammers. I'm playing 4 Crushing and 3 Enhanced Hammer, and also 2 supporters that remove energy, which are the Team Flare Grunt and Zerozic, which we can bring back with the VS Seeker. I'm not playing Headwingers right here, but I can definitely see a case being made for them, because if a lot of Seismitoad EX decks start getting played, I think the Headwingers will get a lot better. They are a very cool card, especially if you are going first, and you can actually find them really easily with all the card draw that's happening with the Shaman and the Upa. So I think playing a couple of Headringers would be nice. I'm not doing so right now, but I can definitely see like one Hand Stammer and something else being cut for that. We have 4 Super Scoop Ups. This card is insane in this deck. I don't understand people playing less than 4, honestly. When the opponent is struggling and trying to knock out your Seismitoad X, like doing 3 turns just to get it really close to get knocked out, and you play one of these and you hit heads, and you bring that Seismitoad back to your hand, and you put it down again, and you start attacking again. That's just insane, in my opinion. The opponent just goes back so many turns. So Super Scoop Up, super awesome in this deck. Of course, we can also bring back to our hand another Pokemon that we don't want, just so that the opponent doesn't Lysander it out. And we can also draw extra cards if we bring the Shaman back and put it back down again. You guys know how that works. This card is just insane in this deck. Increases the consistency and just makes it super hard for the opponent to kill us, because we heal off that damage over and over again. We have a couple of switch in here. There's some item lock going around with the Vileplume decks and all that, but switch allows us to be quick and attack with a Seismitoad, even if we started off with a Shaman or a Upa or even a Giratina, which doesn't attack in the first turn. So switch is really good in that regard. Also, the Keldeo EX rotated, so, and the Floatstone obviously, so kind of need another way to retreat from our huge retreat cost Pokemon. I'm playing 3 Trainer's Mail. It's a consistency card, as you guys know, helps us draw into our amazing trainer cards. And there's 4 Ultra Ball, which are insane, obviously. Discarding cards and just getting the Shaman and the Upa is pretty much what we want to be doing every single game. We have 4 Via Seeker to bring back supporters, can use them to draw extra cards, to play the Lysanders, and also to be disruptive with our Team Flare, Grunt, and Xerosic. And as far as supporters go, I already talked about this too. We also play 1 AZ, really good card, helps us get our opponents out of harm, helps us switch, helps us bring our Shaman and Upa back to our hand, and drop them down again if we need so. 1 X-Maniac helps us break Vileplume lock, for example, and deal with very awkward situations like Aegislash and all that. So it's a really one-off, really good one-off to have. 2 Lysanders. I guess I don't really need to explain that one. Not only is it disruptive, it also allows us to draw to get the Pokemon that we want to get the knockout on. And of course, in the later game, it just helps us lock the game quicker by getting some Shaman, for example, and killing it with a Giratina in a single hit. There's 3 Birch and 4 Sycamore as far as card drawing goes. And that's all the supporters. And then we get to the stadiums. I'm playing 2 different stadiums in this deck. And I think we can play a 2-2 count of each, because if you guys remember, Giratina X also locks the stadium cards from our opponent. So if we start attacking with this guy, the opponent cannot play another supporter over ours. So imagine that we're playing against a Mega Manetric deck, and we stick Faded Town down. They take more damage than they would from a Verbank with a Hypnotoxic Laser. That's 2 damage counters going on to their turn, and then 2 coming back to ours. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of decks where Faded Town does nothing against, so I guess Silent Lab is the stadium of choice. We have to be careful sometimes, because we cannot play this guy before we go off with a Upa and a Shaman. But because we usually, most games, we only go off in a single turn. So we grab the Ultra Ball, we get the Upa, we get the Shaman, and after that we don't really need any more of those shenanigans. So we can in fact play the Silent Lab down and lock our opponent out of their own Shamans. We have to also be careful if we're playing against a Mega Pokemon deck not to play that, because it would cut our Renegade Pulse, but I think otherwise it works really nicely. It's for all the matchups that we don't want the Faded Town in, their Silent Lab. We have 3 Muscle Band in here. It's a definitely good card because the damage output is so low with Seismitoad. Just getting those 50 damage just makes it so much better. And of course, getting one of those on Giratina will allow us to hit for 120 damage, which kills the Shaman EX that we can Lysander out and close the game that way. So works out really nicely. I'm playing 3 because of that. We can also reuse them by using the Scoop Ups, as you guys know. So hopefully 3 will be enough. As far as energy goes, we're playing 3 Double Dragon. We only use this for Giratina, so I think 3 for the 2 Giratina is enough. and then the 4 DCE, which is the bread and butter of this deck. And that's the deck list. I think this deck is really good. It definitely has the potential to be one of the best decks in the format and one of the bigger players. I think it has an awesome matchup against Manectric decks. While not being as good as the Seismitoad decks was, I still think it has a lot of potential. So, yeah, let's just go for a match and see how we go. Hopefully we will get a match where the opponent does not concede early, because that happens a lot, and that's actually the reason why I did that intro. A lot of opponents just concede straight out of the bat in the first turns of the game after getting item locked. Hopefully this won't happen against our opponent. Okay, we are going first. That's nice, always nice. And we have a decent hand, I would say. Got some hammers. We only need the energy to be able to attack next turn. Okay, the opponent starts with a Shaman, so it sucks for him. Let's see what we draw out of this. Okay, we got a Super Scoop, which will allow us hopefully to draw some extra cards. Don't think I'll be drawing a lot with a Shaman. If we have one, yeah, we do. Okay, actually going to grab all the Seismitoads. This way you just get rid of them out of our deck. And let's just put the Muscle Band here, and let's see, we draw not the greatest of cards. Let's see, the Scoop Up hits, so let's bring this thing, and actually play the switch. I won't have the Muscle Band on the Seismitoad that will attack, but I'll draw extra cards. I'll just play this thing. Nope, yeah, we didn't hit the flip, but we did hit the energy, so I'm actually going to put it down on my active and pass the turn. Could try to get the way to retreat out of the active Seismitoad into the one with a Muscle Band, but to be honest, the first thing that's important with this deck, so it's a Rayquaza with Darkness Energy. Okay, the first thing to get with this deck is the item lock going, and then we worry about the damage. So the opponent is kind of going off this turn. He's filling out his bench. There's an Ultra Ball. Shaman, okay. So he's drawing a lot of cards this turn. It's really good for him. That's definitely the way that deck should work. Okay, so it's our turn. We drew an Ultra Ball, so I am going to play the Sycamore, so I'm actually going to use the Ultra Ball first. We see there's only a Seismitoad left, but we already have 3 in play, so might as well just discard it. Get rid of the Seismitoad. I don't think I'll need it. Okay. We could play this Faded Down, but actually I'd love for my opponent to evolve one of his guys, so I'm actually going to Silent Lab. He's going to discard some Shaman, I guess, but can't worry too much about that at this point. I just want to item lock our opponent, just. And the fact that we ability lock him and also prevent him from playing another Shaman because his bench is full, I think is cool, because he put the DCE on the Shaman, so I guess he doesn't have any other way to switch back. Can hit us for 30 and bring the DCE back to his hand, which is really good for him, but I wonder what he's going to promote. If he promotes the Rayquaza, I think I'll play the Team Flare Grunt that I have in hand. Okay, we drew the Muscle Band, that's perfect. Let's just play it on a Seismitoad, just remove his energy, play another Stadium, and just bam, 50 extra damage. Trumping his Stadiums, and now I don't think he can evolve. If my board was bad for a Mega Rayquaza, now it's just worse, because we've got the Giratina in there waiting, and we got the Faded Towns for extra damage. Oh, another Skyfield. That means we can actually use this Faded Town that we have in hand. That's perfect, because I was thinking about playing the Sycamore anyways. And my opponent goes all in and fills up his bench. That's okay with me. 1, 2, 3 Shamans in there. Okay, so that's probably what he will discard. Oh, we got a VS Seeker. We can go for the Team Flare Grunt again. Let's see. But actually, I think the Seismitoad is going to die pretty soon. It's only at 90 HP. It can take a couple more hits. So I think I'll try to draw into a Hammer and an Energy, just to start building that Giratina or something. So Oh, our opponent didn't actually leave a Shaman in there, and we did draw the energy, but we need a couple of these hammers to hit. I'm going to put this DC on the Giratina. Oh, nice, that's perfect. Because now we can have two potential attackers, depending on what we draw. And even if our opponent plays another energy, he's not even killing our Seismitoad, so... Opponent uses Birch and doesn't draw a lot of cards, only 4. So I guess he's struggling a little bit. We did draw the dragon, that's pretty cool. Let's play this hammer, and we don't hit for once. So let's play the Birch. We draw 7 cards, that's perfect. Let's try to scoop our Seismitoad. Nope, not that lucky. So that Seismitoad is in fact going to die, so I think I'm actually just going to item lock my opponent further. There's really nothing else that I can do. He's going to draw a couple of prizes, but oh well. That's the nature of the game. Hopefully puts a DC down, because he will be scared of the Giratina next turn. We will lock his special energies. Yeah, it does. And we have the hammer now. So actually, now that I think of it, if I go with a Seismitoad, and I'm able to draw, I mean, I have 16 cards left. I'm going to draw half of my deck. So maybe it's worth it to risk. Let's see. You only have 1 DC in the discard pile and 1 in play. Yeah, I think I can do it. Let's see if we can manage to draw. Let's remove that thing first. Can also go with this if... Okay, we fail, but if we had hit... Oh, there's the DC. Okay, perfect. Totally worth it. Otherwise, we would have to find a way to scoop from this Seismitoad or switch back from it. I don't know if we have any way to do that in our deck left, but I felt pretty good because we would only need to draw 1 of 2 cards out of half of our deck, so I thought the chances were good. My opponent is going to attack us anyways, but we can remove the energy with the 0-Zik that we have in hand, so everything will be fine. Okay, there's the Lysander, that sucks. 60 damage. Let's see. We have a lot of ways to retreat from this. Let's see if the Crushing Hammer hits. Oh, it does. Nice, perfect. Now we can actually use the AZ to bring the Upa instead of playing the 0-Zik, so now we could just Quaking Punch. Yeah, could actually put the Giratina down and start playing energy in there. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Play the Dragon energy and then keep the DC in hand in case we need to retreat from the Shaman or something, or attack with the other Seismitoad. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm only 6 cards in my deck, but I think I have enough time. Well, my opponent says 4 items. Well, he has 4 items in hand. Well, that's kind of the nature of the game. That's what we want here, right? To lock him out of items. So I think I can kill him in time because we have hopefully still have the Lysander for the Shaman. Okay, 5. I couldn't care less. Okay, we see an energy on that Rayquaza, so he's attacking us for 60, and we just kill him, and we just have to find a way to bring that Shaman to that active position next turn. I think we still might have a Lysander and a VS Seeker left in our deck. We will play the Trainer's Mail to see if we do. Oh, there we go. There's the VS Seeker. If we hadn't, we could have just played the switch and knock out any of his guys in 2 turns, hopefully. So I'm just going to bring that Lysander and kill his Shaman. And that's game. Okay. I'm actually quite happy that the opponent did not concede and went through with the game, or else this would have been another very short video. Yeah, that's the deck. It's still as annoying as it always was. I guess the Sceptile decks might actually get a bit better because if Seismitoad becomes a thing, but I actually haven't tested a lot of matchups. I only played like 1 game against Sceptile EX and actually won that one, so the opponent conceded really early after I killed the first Sceptile with the Giratina and the Toad combination. So yeah, not really that much else to be said. I really think this deck is pretty good. Tell me what you think in the comments, as usual, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye!